Are the Sasquatches in the southern USA the same species as the Sasquatches out west? This idea of multiple Bigfoot species is a hot topic among Sasquatch researchers and is mostly based off the varying physical traits of Sasquatches across the continent. While I cannot confirm nor deny this, I can tell you what the data says about these differences and appearances of Sasquatches across the different regions. And we can explore if there is a statistically significant difference in the frequency that these traits are reported among different regions in the USA. So, to kick off this exploration into the potential regionality of Sasquatch traits, we're going to be investigating if the differences in hair color frequencies between the South and the West regions is statistically significant. And before diving into the numbers, I want to tell you a little bit about where I'm getting my data from, how I'm even running these statistical tests, and what these tests even tell us. I'm getting all of my data from the Sasquatch Data Project Dataset, which is currently composed of 1,220 parsed reports from the BFRO Witness Testimony Database. And so far, I've gone through 23 states. Of these 1,220 reports, 1,090 of those were from the southern and western regions of the USA. So that's 598 reports from the South and 492 reports from the West. It's also important to know that these preliminary results are only from Class A sightings of a Sasquatch. Now, Class A means the witness undoubtedly saw an ape of unclassified species in North America. So if we're only looking at Class A sightings and we want a hair color, this leaves us with 300 reports from the South and 206 reports from the West. It's important to note that not every sighting report included a hair color. This one's pointed at you researchers. We gotta do better. That has to be one of the first things that's asked when doing a follow-up interview with the witness after their sighting. Now, to see if there's any statistical significance in the frequencies of the reported hair colors, I'm going to be using a chi-square test, which is really great for categorical data like we're dealing with right now. This test allows us to identify any potential correlations within the categorical data. We will be particularly interested in the p-value that it produces, and the p-value basically just tells us how likely the pattern that we are observing in the data is due to random chance. So typically you set the p-value at 0.05, so if the p-values for these hair colors do fall under that 0.05 threshold, we can feel pretty good that these patterns that we're seeing are not due to random chance, but are due to some other reason, whether it be humanistic, environmental, or due to differences in the Sasquatches themselves. Also, one more thing. You might notice that the sample sizes are quite different between the South and West. You will be very happy to know that I have accounted for this using a percentage normalization within each region for my calculations. Okay, I promise my nerdy rant is done. Let's dive into the numbers and see what the statistical significance testing tells us. And also, let's see which hair colors I actually tested, because that's important too. The specific hair color categories I tested were dark brown, medium brown, light brown, red brown, dark, which basically means the witness couldn't distinguish between black and dark brown, red, black, blonde, gray, and white. There was no statistical significance determined in the frequency of reports for black, dark brown, medium brown, or red Sasquatch hair colors. But I did find statistical significance for the dark, red, brown, white, and gray hair colors. Okay, let's start with the dark hair color because this one surprised me. Both the South and the West had 46 reports of dark hair colors for Sasquatches. This equates to 15.33% of reports for the South and 22.33% of reports for the West. Performing a chi-square test on this data came back with a p-value of 0.0470. Now, this is really close to our threshold of 0.05, and I'm gonna guess that this is going to fall outside of that threshold once more data is added to the Sasquatch Data Project Dataset. Also, the dark brown and black hair colors were not statistically significant between regions, so I have a feeling that this difference in frequency is more so due to human perception rather than a difference in Sasquatch hair colors. Moving on to red-brown, my personal favorite. Very frequently, I've heard Bigfoot researchers say that red-brown Sasquatches are more likely to be found in the South rather than the West, but they never have numbers to back this up. And you know me, I'm a numbers girl. I want to have the data to back that up. And now we have that because I did find statistical significance between the frequencies of reported red-brown Sasquatch hair colors between the South and the West. 48 reports from the South, or about 16%, and 19 reports from the West, or 9.22%, indicated a red-brown Sasquatch. This leaves us with a p-value of 0.0323, which is very comfortably under that 0.05 threshold. And before moving on to the white and gray Sasquatch reports, I want to make it clear that this is where things get a little iffy because the sample sizes are quite small. But I'm going to report on it anyway for the sake of transparency. I want to make it very clear though that these results will probably change as more reports are added to the dataset. As things currently stand in the Sasquatch Data Project Dataset, 17 reports from the South, or about 5.6%, indicated that the witness saw a white Sasquatch, while only 3 from the West have been reported, which is 1.46%. And the p-value came back very small at 0.0190. Gray Sasquatches were also reported more in the South with 25 reports, which is 8.33%. And the West only has 5 reports so far, which is 2.43%. And the gray Sasquatch hair color frequencies came back with the smallest p-values so far of 0.0065. Now, looking at this as a whole, it's really interesting that all of these frequencies, except for dark, were greater in the South versus the West. And I cannot say for sure why the South would have more varied Bigfoot hair colors versus the West. Potentially it's due to the environment, so different hair colors produce different survival advantages for those Sasquatches in different regions. Potentially it's just due to the differences in the genetic pool of the Sasquatches in the South versus the West. Or it's something entirely different. I do not know, and I am not claiming to know. I literally have no idea. It's all just a guess. But let me know in the comments what you think. I'm really curious to know. Also, if you want to run your own analysis on the data, you're more than welcome to. Go get the Sasquatch Data Project Dataset on my website, sasquatchdataproject.com. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a big ol' thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more, and I'll see you next time.